impressive thing that I heard today was how many, and maybe Steven, you can help me out. Text me later on, like how many times did he say the word team? Okay, so what makes him special? He's a team guy, and he's got a chest cavity filled with a big heart. That's who he is. Like everything he does, whether it's pass protect, carry the ball, catch the ball, run after the catch. Like that's who he is. Like just the amount of times, and I bet you if you took everybody here that was here today, every player talking, how many times they said the word team, unless they were talking about, well, the team, but like he was talking about whatever the team means. Like to me, that's the ultimate player right there. That's what we need in college football. That's what we're missing at times, is the team. And with the transfer portal, all that, that to me is what makes him special. His heart, and he doesn't care. It's what's best for the team.
That with roster limits that have gone on, 105, he discussed, it used to be the days of walk-ons being added on. How do you sort of manage that new challenge of, handing out the scholarships, and do you worry about missing the guys like the walk-ons that have fit in the rosters?
Yeah, I worry about that for the future. Right now we're okay. You're going to have to do a great job evaluating those walk-ons, who you bring in and who you don't bring in. It's going to be more selective. And the thing I hate about it is, the thing I hate about it for those kids is there's opportunities. We brought Jimmy Morrissey in, who's plays for the New York Giants as a center there, but like he was a walk-on, and earned up the Burlsworth Trophy for the best walk-on in the country, and plays in the Senior Bowl, does all those things. But like what if he didn't get that opportunity? What if he wasn't good enough to even get to that 105 or that 120? It's just that's not good. Now this year we got grandfathered in, right? When you talk about managing it, the number's supposed to be 105. Some people might be down to 105. Management-wise, I was never smart enough not to cut people early. I've heard around the country some people cut them early. They cut them in January because they knew they had to get down to 105. Like to me, I want guys to compete. Even it wasn't a matter of like I'm that smart. I said, you know what? They're going to go through spring ball and compete to be in the 105. It's not fair for me in January. What if a kid gets real strong during the offseason? It wasn't fair for me as a coach to say, oh yeah, you're gone because you weren't good last year. What are you going to do in January, February, March, and April, and May as we get out of spring ball and then select the 105? Well, I got lucky enough that I want guys to compete. That's what we do in Pittsburgh is compete, and so I was lucky enough to and again, no one that decisions still being made, nothing's set in stone, that I was able to keep all of our guys.
One other thing I want to ask you was about 2-point conversions. You guys had 10 attempts last year. The most
we have.
I'm blanking now. I looked it up. You had the most of anybody in the ACC, and the number of 2-point conversions nationally has gone up. I'm curious as to is that just as simple as the game requires you to be more aggressive? Is there anything new with that element?
Yeah, I'd like to see what our success rate. That means we may be in some tight games. There's two reasons for those. You're in a tight game, or analytics is telling you based on the point differential that you should probably go for 2. Like in a game, if you're up by 3, or if you're up by, let's just say you're up by 3, and you kick extra point. Well, what's an extra point do to get you a 4? If you're up by 4 or 5, you're up by 5. What is an extra point? It gets you to 6, and then an extra point by the other 2 gets you beat. So there's all those analytics. Like, why kick an extra point when you can possibly get 2 if it's not going to hurt you? So those are. Probably. And probably the other one is probably the 2-point conversions we had in the bowl game in the 6 overtime game. Probably is probably one of those reasons.
Yeah.
What can Kyle do for long term? You have the year that he had for Team All-American. He's trying to build off that. I mean, is it one of those deals where the production might not be that high, but it'll still be just as good?
Yeah. Well, he's good. He's athletic. He's smart. There's nobody that I've seen in my last 10 years here at Pitt that watches as much videotape as Kyle Lewis. I talked about Des Reed, talking about team. I'm going to tell you, Kyle Lewis is in that film room more than any player that I see on our football team, including our quarterback. Okay, it's something he's trained to do. I'll go in Coach Manlock's office at 6:15 in the morning, and my man Kyle Lewis is sitting behind the computer where Coach Manlock will sit when he's having a meeting, and he's in there watching tape every day. Like, this guy is committed. And again, you can be a great player, you can be athletic, you can run. This guy studies the video. Okay? There's not a lot of guys, they want to go play the video game. He wants to watch the video. Okay? To me, there's that element that, someday an NFL team's going to get a guy that's going to study the tape. And I say this all the time. I'd rather have a 4-6 guy that watches video than a 4-4 guy that watches no video. Okay? Because that 4-6 guy is going to play like a 4-4 guy because he knows what's going on, because he's seen it before it even happens. So going back to the production question, it's hard. Okay, I'm not worried about his production. I'm worried about him doing his job. Okay, NFL scouts are going to watch him and say, was he in the right place? Okay, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't get lucky. Sometimes the turnovers. We talk about it all the time, getting turnovers, whether it's an interception or fumbles. Sometimes teams. One year, this is years ago, I was at Michigan State, and the number one. And I don't know what year this was, but you can go through. It was either probably 2009, 10, 11, or 12, somewhere in that range. Who had the most turnovers in the country? Okay, it was Oklahoma State. Okay, and I'm a studier of tape too, right? That's why I coach. So I went and pulled all their turnovers, and I wanted to watch and see what are they doing? I want to do a third down. We need to get all those turnovers. Oklahoma State, number one in the country. What the heck are we talking about Oklahoma State for, right? So I went back and watched the tape and put all the notes, all whatever it was, 36 or whatever it was that year. Wrote the notes of why they got the turnovers. You know what it came down to? Freaking luck. It came down to the Big 12's got horse shit ball security. Swear. You think I'm kidding? I'm not talking about the Big 12 now. I'm just talking about that year. I'm looking like, oh man, that was. I mean, you look at the walk kid from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Man, that guy punches the ball. That guy's the best I've ever seen. Okay, and we get to watch him every day. But like, I watched it. It was like, guy just dropped the ball. Like no one forced it. It wasn't forced fumbles. It was the ball just fell out of the guy's hands. Like, what do you do? Bad pitch, whatever it is. I mean, that's what I looked at. I was like, they got lucky. Well, I'd like to get lucky too. But we got to work on getting more of those turnovers. So, to your point about Kyle and the production, and sorry for the long answer, it's not easy, but he's going to be evaluated on how good a player he is based on him doing his job every snap. And he talked about in his press conference today just about going back and looking at all my good plays, but more importantly, looking at his bad plays and making sure those don't happen anymore. He'll be evaluated by us and by the National Football League and GMs and head coaches across the country based on what he does. It's not about the production. Production will come sometimes it doesn't. But if he's in position to make an interception, he drops it, that ain't good. Okay, if he catches an interception, he doesn't score a touchdown. I mean, that run he had in Syracuse is unbelievable. That was a run. I mean, he got horse collar, no call, and still got it. So,
hey, Coach, you're a New Haven, Connecticut native, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Just tell me about what you've seen from like Northeast football identity as time has gone on, and where you think it's at. The product that's coming from the Northeast, especially, and how you
want the truth, or you want me to lie to you?
I'll have both.
Where are you from?
I'm from New York. I'm with Boston College, Eagles on us.
Okay, so preface my answer here, but and again, from New Haven, Dad coached at Yale back in the day when Calvin Hill. Oh, you young guys don't know Calvin Hill. Grandstad, yeah. So my dad, my dad actually recruited Calvin Hill. Calvin Hill was a dude. I met him a few years ago in Atlanta. Number 35. That guy was a player. I mean, you talk about that, with the Redskins and the Cowboys as well. As a little kid watching that, but Northeast football is good football. I played at the University of Rhode Island. High school football run is not the best. Okay, obviously in the Northeast, the best football is probably in New Jersey. New York's getting better, but I think it's getting better. But I'm not up there running around the woods like I used to. I used to be shaking bushes trying to find players. But we've had a lot of good players out of the Northeast.
Do you feel like BC, Pitt, and Syracuse are all in sort of a battle for a lot of those Northeast guys?
Yes and no. I mean, we all are looking for different stuff. I think everybody's got different needs. Everybody's got different things that they like. I don't know how many battles I was into, to be honest with you, with Boston College and Syracuse in recruiting this year. Maybe 3 total that I felt like a guy went there and came to our place, and you were, like it's between us and Syracuse. And if it was, we might have both got beat on the kid, whoever that recruit was. So, but there's good players all over the country. We're lucky to be in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and you talked a little bit about Coach Belichick and having him in the conference, but just the respect you have for Bill O'Brien and what he's done. Just talk about that.
Bill's a phenomenal coach. They beat us up there last year. I mean, schematically he does a great job. He's a great schemer. He's a heck of a football coach. He's a legend too. Again, just another great head football coach.
Both off-season discussion about the future of the playoff and what should be.
Not much. Not much discussion for me. I'm not really discussing because it doesn't matter. I like 12. I like 16. The most important thing is the best teams get into playoffs. There's no gimmicks, right?
So no multiple automatic qualifiers.
Why? Let's pick the best teams. Pick the best teams. I mean, just saying, what if there's only? I mean, I'll go back in basketball. Let's just go to basketball in '64. Pitt didn't get in it this year. I looked in the SEC, and there was teams in the SEC that got into the basketball tournament. Okay, and it's been a while since March Madness. There's teams that got into the tournament that had losing records in the conference. How does that happen? Like, really? We got teams with losing records getting in the tournament. Like, that should not happen because of So there shouldn't be any gimmies in any conference, any sport, whether it be the National Football League, college football, or NCAA basketball.
How do you feel about Leach's idea of 64 teams? May he rest in peace, or Drinkowitz won in 30?
Rest in peace. I like his wedding advice better than that. 64 teams, what are we doing?
Coach, you've been asked about the NFL influence. I mean, Belichick, O'Brien, you guys sharing the facility with the Steelers. What does that kind of mean for your program and just the league at large having this in the NFL influence?
Yeah, it doesn't do anything for the league, but it's awful important to us to be able to be in Pittsburgh next to Mike Tomlin, everything they do, their players. I mean, before it ever happened, Aaron Rodgers, I'm sitting at my desk, I'm on the phone, and all of a sudden, Coach Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers and Omar Khan, walk by my window. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know Aaron was in the building today. This is way before he ever, he walked right by my window. He's coming out the back. They never walk down the back door. The only time they walk down that way is to go to the practice field. So this is in the off season. It's an incredible advance for us. I think it's one of the reasons we've had so many NFL guys. I think high school players walk in for a facility and go, what? Like, we get to watch this every day. And how do you become great? You practice hard, you develop, and you get to watch what they do, and to be able to watch how the Steelers practice, how hard they play is important.
You guys have added a lot of talent from Miami and South Florida. How important is it to recruit that pipeline over in South Florida?
The area is not as important as the players coming out of that area. We've had a lot of success down in South Dade County and in Fort Lauderdale. All those. It doesn't matter where they come from, but Florida's been awful important to us. It's one of those. We're going to recruit our backyard. The state of Pennsylvania, Ohio, New Jersey. Those are hotbeds. The DMV, and then we're going to skip over the Carolinas and a little bit of the Virginias, unless there's a contact there, and we're going to Georgia and Florida. So it's been really important to us.
What's been your emphasis?
The addition of Cole Gonzalez in the offseason since he had been in Kansas for so many years at Western.
Yeah, I think that's the best part about it. He was in that system before. The learning curve is much better than if you brought in some, maybe a more talented quarterback. Cole's been great since he got here. He's a football coach's kid. He's a coach's kid. I mean, that's another reason. His dad's been a head football coach and obviously, receiver coach for Florida Gators. So he's been a huge addition. There'll be a lot of competition going on, and competition is healthy.
You mentioned the benefit of sharing the facility with the Steelers. You and Mike are unusual in that you both have long tenures in a very unstable business. But how has that relationship evolved over the years since you first got there?
Yeah, we got a great relationship. I mean, they're off in the field now. We're, in Pittsburgh all by ourselves now. I feel like we lost our neighbor. He's on vacation somewhere, but he's working his tail off right now in training camp. But we've got a great relationship. We're able to go out to practice, watch, gather information, go to meetings. I mean, on a daily basis, you can wake up and go, hey, I think I'm going to do that. Most teams, if they want to go visit an NFL team, they got to call up, get in a car, drive, fly, go to the airport, whatever it may be. But we can wake up and say, hey, I'm going to go to the DB meeting today, and go sit in the DB meeting. Oh, I'm going to go to the O-line, O-line coach is going to coach this today. Hey, they're putting in cover 2. I want to go watch cover 2 today. And just watch the install there. That's a major advantage. And we can do it every day. And you can take an hour a day and become better. I think the one thing we've lost through college football the last, I'd say, 8 years at least, is development of coaches. There's no time to develop them. I remember the old days when I was at Michigan State. I remember coming down to Pittsburgh, to visit Dave Wanstad's dad, Phil Bennett, and sit there for 2 days and talk ball. Our poor coaches don't get that anymore. There's no time because we got the portals open. I got to go recruit this guy. We got camps. We got recruiting visits in June. Like, what are we doing? Those used to be times when spring recruiting was over that we could send our coaches to go get, better education, just to learn. I mean, you have to learn at this game. If you're staying the same, you're getting worse. And I think we've lost the professional development of coaches in this country.
Coach, I saw a recruiting composite. I'm not sure if it was Bud Elliott, but right around the draft, that you hit way better on 3-stars than almost anybody in college football. I don't know if you saw this, but A, how gratifying would that be, or is that to you? And also, what is it besides you as a coach, but also is it your other coaches as well?
It's everybody. It's a group effort. There was an article in the Atlantic, our first weekend in June, whatever the first Thursday or Friday in June was. An article came out by the Athletic. You can go Google it, read it. But it had us ranked as the #1 team in developing talent.
That's what it is.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking of.
And in the last 5 years, we've had 20 guys drafted. And again, we're taking those 3-stars. When I was at Cincinnati, our first recruiting class in 2004 was ranked 82nd in the country, if I recall. Okay, they did a study that I should say they did a study. There was no study on that. So 2004, I think they were 82nd ranked in rivals or whatever. When those guys became seniors, 7 guys got drafted. Something that we did with D'Antonio. It's called evaluating talent. I was with a coach one time at an airport, and we had 7 guys drafted a couple years ago. And he said, "How do you get all these guys drafted?" I said, "Let me ask you a question." I said, "Do you watch every player that comes in your program?" I'm watching every single player. If our coaches evaluate 200 kids, I'm getting an email saying, "You need to watch this guy. You need to watch that guy." It's called work. Okay, I work, but I watch every kid. So. Coach asked me, Power 4 head coach, "How do you have that many guys drafted?" I said, "Do you watch every player?" He goes, "I'm starting to watch more." I'm like, well, there's your problem.
And you seem to be grabbing more FCS guys. Is there something there with that? You find maybe an edge?
Not really, but you find hunger. I mean, the FCS, thing has been, mainly because Cade Bell, our offense coordinator, came from Western Carolina. His dad's there. He's coached with some of those guys, so that obviously helps. We had a linebacker, Tyre Wiltz, from Southeast Missouri State. I don't even know, maybe that's Division II. That kid was a hell of a player. So, we're going to recruit them if they're out there, if we like them. But, we've been blessed to have those Western Carolina. Old Coach Bell does a great job down there. So he's done a great job evaluating. That guy needs to get a big job someday.
To recapture the way you played in the first 7 games last year, what's kind of the keys to recapturing that?
Stay healthy, number one. You look at the Cal game, we lose our left side of the line. The next game, we try to put a backup in there and replace it. Doesn't go so well. So then we move our right tackle to left tackle the next game. And then, now you got 3 positions broken. You got to stay healthy. And the team that can stay healthy and have a little bit of luck helps you win a championship. So, like I've said before, we had a chance to win 11 games last year. 4 of them we didn't finish. We need to finish those 4 and win 11, and we'll be a pretty happy program.
Sorry if you've been asked about Belichick before, but I just wondered what his introduction into the league means and how you think he'll transition from all that pro experience. It's obviously a little bit of a different game.
Well, I'll be shocked if he doesn't have success. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm no genius over here, but he's a heck of a football coach. But it takes players and it takes coaches. Okay, it takes a program together. It takes everybody moving in the same direction. So I'm sure with the president there at North Carolina, new AD now coming in, and Belichick and his entire staff, they'll do a hell of a job. I expect them to be in a championship game against Pitt this year.
You mentioned finishing.
Shit, you got Bill Belichick. You better be, right?
You mentioned finishing. Is that something that you coach how to finish, or
you coach? You learn. You learn from your mistakes, right? We take ownership of what happened last year. It's all of our faults. It's players, coaches, trainers, equipment guys. We all screwed up somehow. We didn't get it done. And again, maybe we got lucky against West Virginia. Maybe we got lucky against Cincinnati. Maybe we got lucky against those teams we won. Maybe we got lucky against Youngstown State. I don't think so. But you learn by mistakes, right? We all learn. If you don't fall down and miss a 3-point shot, you don't drop a touchdown pass, how do you get better? I mean, that's how winners are developed, is by losing. And unfortunately, it's not fun. No one has fun doing it. But I think our guys have an edge to them this offseason. They know what happened. And you don't let the same dog bite you twice, do you? I mean, the dog bites you once, how close are you getting to the damn dog? You stay away, right? You back up, you shut the door, you kick him. You ain't gonna get snapped on.
Coach Narduzzi.
Yes, sir.
Coach Ellis, prime time scout. Pitt grad, 91.
Hail to Pitt!
That's right. Played for Pittsburgh, New England, Panthers, Jets, Chiefs.
Beautiful. Who's your head coach you play for?
For who?
What head coach you play for at Pitt?
I didn't play Pitt. I was a track star.
Ah.
They tried to get me. They saw I was a football athlete.
So you ran track at Pitt and then played in the National Football League?
Yes, sir.
You're like Sam Clancy.
Something
Played
like
basketball,
that.
played in the NFL. Holy cow. This guy's a legend.
Yes, sir. But Coach, I want to say thank you for all you do, the hard work you do. I fully understand. Been there, done that. But how important is family to you?
It's everything. It's everything. And again, I got 2 huge families. Obviously my wife and 4 children. That's number 1 in my life. And then I got my football family. And everybody in our building, there's 57 people that, I'm in charge of, between coaches and recruiting and trainers and equipment guys. I mean, that is your extended family, but families, that's all we talk about.
What do you do for downtime? I know there's no such thing. In your mind, what do you do for downtime?
Well, the mind never stops, speaking of the mind, but, I always say this, my wife and kids have followed me around, and they follow me around, they support me, they're the reason I do what I do. But when July comes around, I'm spending time with the family, and we go. My wife is from Rhode Island, so she went to school there. We both met at the University of Rhode Island. So when summer comes around, wherever she wants to go, we go back to Rhode Island. We have a home there. We spend a couple of weeks there, and she's near her family, and that's what she deserves. Based on everything she's sacrificed, through the years.
With Eli Holst,
thank you.
With Eli Holstein, is there certain steps forward in certain areas you're looking to see out of him this year, or?
Nothing in particular. I didn't turn the ball over a whole bunch. I mean, I would just say, it's studying the game of football. He's a football player. He's got natural instincts. He can throw it. He can run it. He can make you miss. He's strong, so he can break a tackle. I would say just his overall knowledge of football and using a computer, and like just being a video rat. Great quarterbacks are video rats. They want to go watch all the video they can, and that mental preparation of the video work and putting that time in is critical. And I'd say that if I had to pick one thing, I would say the after practice, after your quarterback meeting, I would say what he's doing in his free time, that'll make or break you as a quarterback or a linebacker or a DB.
Pat, you had a lot of pointed comments a couple of years ago about tampering. How much faith do you have in this new CSE system and the enforcement of it?
I hate to say I don't have faith, because you have to have faith, for anything to work. So I have a lot of faith going in. I'll let you know in a year. How about that? I got faith. The NCAA couldn't control it in the past. There's no control right now, so it's got to be better than nothing, right? So it's good. I got a lot of faith.
Hey, Coach, you talked about some goals we have.
Goals? Win an ACC championship, number 1. That's our goal. I'd like to, win 12 games, and but like we got to take care of those little things. Take care of the little things. The big things take care of themselves.
You guys talk about your offensive coordinator in the second year, Cade Bell.
Yeah, Cade Bell going into year number 2. I mean, I think you make your biggest improvement from game 1 to game 2, and I think coaches make their best improvement from season 1 to season 2, right? But I think he's learned a lot. I've learned a lot. I know what they do, how they do it. He knows more of what we do and how we do it. So I think year 2 could be really, really beneficial for the Panthers.
Coach, have you looking at, you've had a recruiting class and you bring those guys in, you add the portal class, you get 2 portal windows. How do you mesh all that together, and how important is that for the team chemistry and just everything, and putting all the pieces together? How difficult is it?
It's difficult. I mean, that's the issues with this portal being open and losing your team. you know, at a certain level, even if it's guys that you don't necessarily think are good enough at that point to play for you, but you know, just bringing the team together, and that's why just you know, that's something the team has to work on together. I can't tell our guys to go hang out on Friday night together, have a big old party over here at your house, party at your house. So you got to kind of navigate that, you know. But that's our players, and you know, our players talk about the brotherhood in the press conference. It's just the brotherhood of, you know. But to me, that brotherhood, that question is asked about, you know, like how is your family? You know, everybody talks about family and brotherhood and all that. Is it real or is it fake? Here's how I find out about family. If your good players stay when they're getting more money somewhere else, it means you got a good family. And that's been our MO since Jordan Addison.
You mentioned some of those non-conference games, West Virginia, Cincinnati. Given that the league is now distributing revenue based on viewership, a big chunk of it based on viewership, have you changed the way you look at non-conference games that we're trying to get higher profile games?
I can't say we have because the schedules have been set up until 2031. You're going to buy out some contracts and do that. We got a bunch of. How we doing today? You guys having fun yet? You guys having fun?
We're gonna have a good time, Coach.
Good to have you here. All right. Hail to Pitt. Get your application in the University of Pittsburgh. Hell of an education.
Have you seen enough from the defense yet to know whether that might be an improved area from last year?
I've seen enough of the defense. To what is the improved area? You said?
Well, you know, if you've seen enough to know whether the defense will be better than last year?
Yeah, we're going to be stronger up front. You know, we were 6th in the country last year, maybe 2nd in the ACC last year in sacks, and I think we missed 36 of them. Guys making plays, having opportunities, and then finishing the play. So I would say we're going to see more activity up front with our front four and more improvement in that phase of our game. Wake Forest, I remember playing those guys. Get that Wake Forest shirt on. What are we doing? We good?
You asked. That was your numbers. 5 of 10 on the season before 5 was in the Long Bowl. So 4, but the thing is, you had 5 attempts to look below that. But at the bottom is the number of attempts you had in the previous season. So you took as many, even before that, you took as many in that season that you did in the previous season.
See, when you're a championship team, you got a senior quarterback.
Well, I had it, and then I just blanked when you asked me. So I was like, all right, I got to bring this up. A colleague of mine had done some research and was saying the number of 2-point conversions nationally was like at an all-time high.
You're going to see that. The other thing you're going to see is an all-time high. You're going to study all these 4,000 conversions.
Yeah.
That's under every year that continues.
Yeah.
Because people are taking more chances, especially across the 50.
It feels like what you have to now, just the way the game is played, a little bit more the aggression.
Opportunities having the ball, and having the ball, your possession, and just the percentage of the opportunity to get forward. If it's 4th and 1, you got like a 65% chance of getting it. That's pretty good odds. As opposed to if it's 4th and 10, you got about a 2%. It's a pretty good punt for us. So those are the things there that I would say.
Yeah, well, anyway, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.